Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders shook things up Wednesday morning, making a move that might seem subtle on the surface but could carry massive implications for their short-term stability. They signed veteran punter Mitch Wishnowsky to their practice squad, a move that simultaneously saw Tite and Lawrence Cager get released. On paper, it's a classic NFL maneuver. Cover your bases, but when you really look at it, it's about more than just roster management. It's about foresight, risk mitigation, and, frankly, survival in a league that punishes even the smallest misstep. For fans watching at home, it might feel like a minor headline, but inside the locker room, this is chess being played on a field littered with landmines, where one bad snap or a misjudged bounce can derail an entire week. Let's break down why Mitch Wishnowsky makes sense for Washington. First, the context. Tress Way, the team's longtime punting ace, took a hard hit in Sunday's 21-6 loss to the New York Giants. He was leveled on a partially blocked punt and left with a back injury that immediately set off alarm bells. And if we're being honest, this was almost predictable. Way has been the epitome of consistency for the Commanders for years, which in Washington speak basically means he's due for bad luck. It's the cruel irony of professional football. Players can be reliable for a decade, and one freak play can put weeks of preparation in jeopardy. So when Way went down, even briefly, it wasn't just a bruise or a tweak. It was a signal to the front office that contingency planning was no longer optional. Enter Mitch Wishnowsky. The Australian punter isn't just a warm body to fill a spot. He's a proven performer with 6 seasons of NFL experience under his belt, all with the San Francisco 49ers. To put it into perspective, Wishnowsky was a 4th-round pick in 2019. Yes, a punter taken that high. And he's backed up that investment with precision and consistency. Over his time in San Francisco, he averaged 45.6 yards per punt and placed nearly 45% of them inside the opponent's 20-yard line. That's not just leg strength. That's surgical field position management. In a league where every yard counts, Wishnowsky's ability to flip a game through strategic punts is the kind of skill that can quietly win contests while keeping offenses out of precarious situations. For Washington, bringing him in isn't just insurance. It's a proactive statement that they're thinking ahead, not just reacting. Meanwhile, the Tress Way situation remains murky. Way showed up at Tuesday's practice, albeit limited, which in NFL code is the equivalent of saying, he's probably okay, but we're not betting the farm. Head coach Dan Quinn seemed cautiously optimistic, noting that Way's concern level had decreased and that he hit the ball well during practice. But here's the reality. Short weeks in the NFL are brutal, especially for players nursing injuries. Thursday night football waits for no one, and heading into Lambeau Field against the Packers without a reliable punter is a scenario ripe for disaster. The Commanders' decision to work out not one but 2 punters, Wishnowsky and rookie Eddie Zaplicki, sends a clear message. They are hedging against the possibility that Way might not be fully up to the task, and they're not leaving anything to chance. This isn't panic. This is calculated, preemptive roster management. Of course, moves like these have ripple effects. Lawrence Cager, a tight end quietly grinding on the practice squad, was the collateral damage in this scenario. Cager had 4 catches for 54 yards in preseason and was steadily carving out a role as a depth option, only to be released to make room for a punter who might not even play. It's a stark reminder of the ruthless calculus in professional football. Every roster spot matters, and sometimes it comes at the expense of players on the fringes. Cager has bounced around the league for 4 years, seeing time with both the Jets and the Giants, compiling just 19 career catches. With Zach Ertz firmly entrenched as the starting tight end, meaningful snaps were always going to be hard to come by. But that doesn't soften the blow of seeing the door close abruptly. For players like Cager, this is the reality of the NFL. One week you're contributing, the next week you're looking for a new home. Looking ahead to Thursday night, the spotlight is unforgiving. If Tress Way isn't able to suit up, Wishnowsky will be thrust into a high-pressure environment, Lambeau Field, under the bright lights of national television, with the Commanders team trying to maintain momentum after a solid opening week. That scenario could unnerve even veteran players, but Wishnowsky has been there. 6 seasons in San Francisco included playoff games, primetime matchups, and punting in hostile environments against top-tier special teams units. He's not a rookie staring wide-eyed into the NFL abyss. He's a seasoned professional who understands the mental and physical demands of the game. For Washington, his presence is more than just a stopgap. It's reassurance that they have a capable hand ready if the primary option falters. This move also signals something deeper about the Commanders' organizational approach. In the past, this franchise was notorious for hope-based roster management, famously rolling out players long past their prime and crossing fingers that luck would align. Think Mark Brunell at quarterback beyond his expiration date, or other instances where optimism overshadowed strategy. With Wishnowsky's addition, you see a pivot, a team learning from its past, acknowledging its vulnerabilities, and proactively setting up contingencies. It's an evolution, subtle yet significant, showing that Dan Quinn and his staff are not only aware of potential pitfalls, but are willing to act decisively to mitigate them. The broader lesson here is that every detail matters in the NFL. One blocked punt, one hit on a punter, and suddenly a game plan can unravel. Teams that succeed are often those that anticipate the improbable and prepare accordingly. Bringing in Mitch Wishnowsky isn't glamorous. It won't make highlight reels. There won't be a dramatic press conference about it. But it's exactly the kind of move that can save a season, or at least a crucial game, when the margins between victory and defeat are measured in inches and seconds. Washington's front office knows this, and by signing Wishnowsky, they've essentially bought themselves peace of mind heading into a short week against a formidable opponent. In the end, this is football in microcosm. Ruthless, unpredictable, and meticulously strategic. One punter's back injury leads to a roster shuffle, which costs a young tight end his spot, and suddenly, the fate of a Thursday night matchup rests on the readiness of a veteran from halfway around the world. Mitch Wishnowsky's arrival might not feel like a blockbuster at first glance, but it embodies the essence of NFL survival, anticipation, preparation, and the ability to perform under pressure. For the Commanders, it's a move that speaks volumes about their evolving mindset and commitment to doing the little things right. Because in a league where mistakes are magnified and opportunities fleeting, sometimes the quietest decisions have the loudest impact. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Rumors have been swirling all week, and now it seems the NFL world might just be on the brink of one of the most talked about defensive shakeups in recent memory. Devin Lloyd, the electrifying linebacker who has been a staple of the Jacksonville Jaguars defense since he entered the league, is reportedly packing his bags and heading to Washington. And if you're a Commanders fan, you might want to sit down for this. The whispers started quietly, just murmurs in the background of NFL circles, agents chatting over coffee, insiders dropping hints on podcasts that nobody was really supposed to hear. But now, it's starting to feel like the secret is out, and the pieces are falling into place for what could be a complete reinvention of Washington's front seven. Imagine a defensive unit that not only stops the run, but also terrorizes quarterbacks on a weekly basis. That's the dream the Commanders are chasing, and with Lloyd potentially in the mix, that dream suddenly feels a lot closer to reality. The thought of Lloyd, with his explosive sideline-to-sideline speed, his uncanny ability to read plays before they happen, and his sheer physicality at the point of attack, patrolling the middle of Washington's defense, is enough to send chills down the spine of any opposing offense. It's the kind of presence that changes games, the kind of player that turns a good defense into an elite one almost overnight. Jacksonville, of course, is going to feel the sting. Losing Lloyd would be like tearing the foundation out of a building and expecting it to hold up the same way. The Jaguars have built their defensive identity around him. His relentless pursuit, his knack for making game-changing plays, his leadership on and off the field, and watching him walk away would leave a void that isn't easy to fill. But for Washington, it's a calculated risk, a bet that the right pieces in the right configuration can create something truly special. The front seven has been a point of discussion for months now. Some games it looked like a unit capable of shutting down anything thrown at them, while other weeks, it was more like a sieve that opposing running backs could stroll through. Adding Lloyd would not just be an upgrade, it would be a statement. It would tell the league that the Commanders are serious, that they aren't just tinkering around the edges. They are fundamentally reshaping their identity in a way that could make them contenders on the defensive side of the ball for years to come. The rumors suggest that the conversations have been intense, with Washington offering a package that could very well include draft capital, maybe even a player swap or two, just to make sure Lloyd comes aboard. And if reports are to be believed, Lloyd himself is intrigued by the challenge, by the opportunity to step into a system where he could truly redefine what it means to be a linebacker in today's NFL. Speculation aside, the timing could not be more dramatic. The NFL is a league of narratives, of momentum and storylines, and nothing captures the imagination quite like a high-profile player switch. Fans are already taking to social media, spinning scenarios about how Lloyd would fit into Washington's defensive schemes, imagining him lining up across from some of the league's most dangerous quarterbacks, picturing the kind of havoc he could wreak. Analysts are debating formations, strengths, and weaknesses, and some are already projecting a boost in win probability just from his presence alone. And let's not forget the intangibles: leadership, locker room energy, someone who can hold the defense accountable while also inspiring them to elevate their game. That's the kind of thing that doesn't always show up on a stat sheet, but can completely change a team's trajectory over the course of a season. For a franchise like the Commanders, which has flirted with greatness but hasn't quite solidified its identity in recent years, adding a player like Lloyd could be the spark that ignites something bigger. The buzz isn't just about what he brings on the field either. Off the field, Lloyd has become somewhat of a personality in the league, someone whose interviews and social media presence resonate with fans and teammates alike. He's charismatic, thoughtful, and has a competitive fire that coaches dream about in a locker room. Imagine that energy spreading through a team that has been hungry for leadership, for someone to set a tone week in and week out. That's a dynamic that could amplify the impact of his arrival even beyond the X's and O's. The Commanders, traditionally known for some solid defensive personnel but inconsistent results, would suddenly have a cornerstone, a player around whom a new era of defensive excellence could be built. It's not just a rumor anymore. It's a tantalizing scenario that feels almost inevitable, like watching a blockbuster movie trailer and knowing the premiere is just around the corner. Of course, as with any big move, there are questions. How does the rest of the front seven adjust? Who slides into the role Lloyd is leaving behind? And how will Jacksonville recalibrate without him? There are always ripple effects, and the NFL is a chessboard where one move can create a cascade of strategic decisions. Coaches will be poring over film, dissecting schemes, running simulations, and trying to imagine how the addition of a single player could change their weekly game plans. And fans will be watching closely, analyzing every snap, every alignment, every hit, looking for evidence that the move was worth it. It's a high-stakes gamble, the kind that defines careers and legacies, and right now, all signs point to Lloyd being the centerpiece of that gamble. For Washington, it's an opportunity to rewrite the narrative of their defense, to signal to the league that they are no longer a team that simply reacts. They are a team that dictates. For Lloyd, it's a chance to step into a new role, to showcase his talents on a bigger stage, and to cement himself as one of the premier linebackers in the NFL. The whispers are growing louder with every passing day, and while nothing is officially confirmed yet, the pattern is unmistakable. The NFL loves its stories, loves the drama, loves the anticipation, and this potential move has all the ingredients of a league-defining headline. Analysts are starting to circle dates, draft picks, and cap numbers, trying to piece together how this could actually materialize, but the underlying excitement is undeniable. Fans of the Commanders are already imagining a unit that is fast, aggressive, and relentless, a defense that opponents would dread facing. And even for neutral observers, the idea of a player like Lloyd changing teams and potentially reshaping a defense is the kind of storyline that makes the sport feel alive, dynamic, and unpredictable. The NFL thrives on moments like this, where rumor teeters on the edge of reality, and the only thing left to do is watch, speculate, and wait for the official announcement. So here's the bottom line. Devin Lloyd to Washington is more than just a potential trade. It's a seismic shift, a harbinger of a new era for the Commanders' defense, and possibly a turning point in the league's broader landscape. The front seven, long a source of debate and inconsistency, could suddenly become the stuff of nightmares for opposing offenses. The speculation is only going to intensify from here, with every report, every insider leak, every subtle hint scrutinized by fans and media alike. But one thing feels certain: if this move goes through, the NFL will be talking about it for years, and Washington fans might finally get the defensive identity they've been craving. The story is still unfolding, the details are still emerging, but the buzz is undeniable, and the potential for Lloyd to transform a defense, and perhaps even the fortunes of a franchise, is as real as it gets in the NFL rumor mill. In short, the chatter is loud, the excitement palpable, and the implications massive. Devin Lloyd might just be the missing piece that turns a solid defense into a historically dominant one, and Washington could very well be the epicenter of one of the most electrifying defensive stories of the season. The NFL thrives on unpredictability, and right now, nothing feels more unpredictable or more tantalizing than the idea of Lloyd striding onto the field in a Commander's jersey, ready to redefine what it means to lead a front seven. The rumblings continue, the speculation intensifies, and for anyone paying attention, it's clear that the potential impact of this move goes far beyond just one player changing teams. It's about identity, dominance, and a franchise finally finding the defensive edge it's been chasing for years. The league is watching, the fans are watching, and if the deal happens, the world will be watching Devin Lloyd, the man poised to reinvent the Commanders' front seven. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.